This is lesson 6, exercise 3E, solving literal equations. Just so you don't get confused, this part here is where the side of the notes are. I've just got the examples on the right hand side, so I can use this as a reference. So a literal equation is that of an equation where the solution will be expressed in terms of another variable. Remember, variable just means a letter rather than a number. So a good example to get a clear understanding of this is right here. We have 2j plus 3 is equal to 13. This is a linear equation, and in that there is one unknown. The solution for the letter j is the number 5, because we can just substitute the number 5 into here to get an actual answer of 13. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13. So this is what we consider a linear equation, where a literal equation, j plus 2k equals 6. This has two unknowns. There are two letters here. Okay, so obviously j and k can be any pairs of numbers to get the number 6. But we can write the solution for j as 6 minus 2k. I've just taken that 2k onto the other side, and it turns into a negative, or I subtracted 2k from both sides to get j as a solution. Okay, pretty much the general rule of thumb is if there are two unknowns, it's considered a literal equation. Okay, so the following exercises you can use your calculator. The CAS calculator, you can check to see if you're able to compute that by hand. I can use my class-based calculator just to double check. Okay, so let's get to the first example over here. Alright, so the first example, if x plus 5y is equal to 9, find an expression for x. In other words, this is asking for get x by itself. Okay, so right now x isn't by itself, there's a plus 5y associated with it. I want to you turn this into an x is equal to something. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll write out the equation again. Is equal to 9. Now, as you can see, there is an association with this x, and there's a plus 5y. So to get rid of it, all I'm going to do is subtract 5y. Okay. Well, all I'm going to do is subtract 5y. I'll do the opposite, which is take away 5 lots of that y. And as a usual rule, whatever I do to the left, I'm also going to do to the right. Okay, so right now we haven't necessarily changed anything within the equation here. All we've done is said that we want to get rid of this 5y, so I'm going to apply this rule to the left and also apply it to the right. What will happen in turn is that the plus 5y minus 5y will equate to 0, which is the whole point. We want to try to get rid of it. And then what we're left on the right hand side is just an x is equal to 9 minus 5y. And that 9 minus 5y came from here, 9 minus 5y. So we got rid of this and put a 9 minus 5y. This is what this x is equal to now. So that right there is our final solution. The second example, if 2a minus 4b is equal to 8, find an expression for a. So right now we want to get a by itself, and we have a minus 4b, and we also have a 2 times that's associated with it as well. Okay, so again, we are going to write the expression out. 2a minus 4b is equal to 8. And I just might make this a little bit small. So hopefully I can put this in. Okay. So A lot of people wonder, what's the first step we're going to do? Are we going to get rid of the 2 first, or are we going to get rid of the minus 4b first? And the best way to decide this, there is a plethora of different rules that you can use, but in this case, the way I say it is 2a minus 4b is equal to 8. Pretty much the last thing I said that was associated with that a is the first thing we're going to get rid of. So I said 2a minus 4b. So the minus 4b is the last thing I said. So I want to get rid of that minus 4b. And to get rid of it, I'm going to apply the opposite of minus 4b, which is plus 4b. So if I'm taking away 4 lots of b, I want to add 4 lots of b. And in doing so, whatever I do to the left hand side, I also got to do to the right. So I'm going to add 4b to that side. Okay. Again, nothing has changed with the equation. The equation until I get to the next line. So now that we have added 4b to both sides, minus 4b plus 4b will equate to 0. Again, that's what I'm trying to get rid of. And what I'll be left with is just 2a on the left hand side by itself. And this is equal to 8 plus 4b. So the 8 plus 4b, which is now here. Okay. Now you can see that there is this times 2 that's associated with it. So to get rid of it, all I'm going to do is just divide both sides by 2. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little division. Now when I do a division with a 2 on this, I'm also going to divide every term that is on the right hand side. I'm not just going to go divide by 2 written at the side. I can write this all divided by 2, but because 2 can both go into 8 and 2 can also go into 4, those 2 terms can be simplified. So what I'm doing is I'm dividing both sides by 2. So I'm dividing that by 2. I'm also going to divide this here by 2. And also the last one, I'm going to divide by 2 as well. The 2 divided by 2 will equate to 1, or 1 lot of a, which is what I'm trying to get to in the first place. So I'm left with 8. 8 over 2, or 8 divided by 2, will give me 4. And 4b divided by 2, how many 2's go into 4? That's just 2. So I'm left with 2 lots of b. And that right there will be the final answer to get a by itself. Okay. The last one here, if 3x plus 2y is equal to 4, we want to find an expression for y and an expression for x. So first thing we're going to do is write out the equation. So this is for a. This is 3x plus 2y is equal to 4. I want to find an expression for y. So in this case, we have a 3x that's associated with it, and then a times 2y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump straight to the next slide. Now I can show you the process in red of what the steps are, but hopefully at this point you should be able to tell that we are going to subtract 3x from both sides, and by doing so we're going to be left with 2y is equal to 4 minus 3x. Okay, so see what I did there? I was minus 3x from here and also minus 3x from here. Now I can just write minus 3x minus 3x, but I know that eventually I'm going to get to the next line, which is 2y is equal to 4 minus that 3x. I know that's going to be my next line, so I'm going to try to save a bit of time, okay? Now, like in the previous example where we divided each term by 2, in this case we can do that, but the only problem is that this 3 here, 2 can't really go into 3. It'll give us 1.5, which is a number we're going to try to avoid. So what I will be left with, and this might look a bit tricky because I'll have to write this out manually. I'm going to divide each side by 2. I'm going to be left with 4 minus 3x, all of that over 2. So just use my code here. All of this, sorry, I'm just going to use backwards one. All of this, and this is all going to be over 2. Okay. This right here is the best way to write this expression for y, as 2 cannot go into 3. Okay, I could have done this the same with the previous example, but the reason why I didn't is because both 2 could go into 8 and 4. 2 is a factor of both numbers. Because 2 isn't a factor of both of these numbers here, of both of these terms, I just leave this as is, okay? And that right there will be my final solution. And the second one is asking for an expression for x, okay? So in this case, b, I'll write out the formula again, 3x plus 2y is equal to 4. So again, I'm trying to get x by itself. So the things that are associated with the x is the times of 3 and the plus 2y. I want to get rid of that plus 2y, so I'm just going to minus 2y from both sides. Again, I know that if I minus 2y from both sides, I'm going to be left with a 4 minus 2y, because I'm just going to go minus 2y minus 2y. So in this case, I'll just put minus 2y straight away on the right hand side. And I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Now again, 3 isn't a factor of 4 nor 2, so what I'm going to be left with for my last line is x is equal to 4 minus 2y, and then all of this is going to be over the number 3, because I'm dividing both sides by 3. There. And then that right there, that will be your final answer. Okay, so solving for a letter itself can be a bit tricky, especially when there's a lot of terms going on. You can use your CAS calculator to solve for this. Okay, so I'll show you how to do that. I'll quickly grab my CAS calculator right here, and that was a bit weird, sorry about that. I'll leave it on this side. So let's look at the first one. We're going to do x plus 5y is equal to 9. So remember before we used the solve function right here. Okay, get your keyboard up, press solve, and we're literally just gonna, no pun intended, we're literally gonna put x plus 5, remember to use the times y, and this is equal to 9. So really importantly, the calculator knows that we're going to solve either for x or y. Because there are 2 unknowns, we have to tell it that we want to solve for x, because the question's asking for x. So we'll put comma x, close. And the solution it's come up with is minus 5 times y plus 9. In our case, we have 9 minus 5y. the fact that these positions are swapped around really doesn't make any difference. It's just written in a different way, but that's fine. It still gives us the same answer. Okay. Go ahead and try to solve for example 2 and example 3 using the solve function on your calculator, just to double check your answers. Check your log sheet to see what questions you need to do, and I'll see you next video.